What's up guys, Hades here. So we got a new event. It's replacing Triumph of Fate. It's called Elemental Bond. I want to talk about the strength and power of this event. Should you be using it or not, and then throwing it into my tier list and actually updating the tier list and reworking it completely to convert it into a power tier list. What things do you need to get to be strong, right? So starting with this event, if you accidentally picked a hero you don't want, you can always go back. It's free, you just reset your board. Now, my gut reaction to this event was I didn't like it. There's too many immortals that people don't use or just aren't good. And a lot of these immortals like Trajan, Syndiok, Margaret, you can just get these in other spots like in the Golden Path, right? You can go in the shop down here, boom, there they are, here, 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 right? So it's kind of weird the choices they made on the heroes, and that bothered me a little bit. Then when you go ahead and pick a hero and click start, you actually don't get a free spin, which again, I don't like. It doesn't feel good. Why can I not flip this for free? Because I used to be able to do that. But then the more I dug into it, the more I'm like, you know what? Let's see how many you can get if you really needed them. And I clicked this current reward button down here at the right. And you actually get 6 plus 4 plus 2, which is 12 fragments for 12 flips, which means every one of these cups equals 1 frame. Now, how much do they cost? Well, you have to go into the store and you go, well, 8 plus 4 is 12, so it's $3 to get 12 fragments. And that's actually really good value. And it's really easy because you can get these both 5 times for, I believe, 3 days in a row. And that in itself is pretty good. Now, the problem is, I don't think there's a hero in here you would want to do that on, because these are all free heroes. You get these through so many different ways. You get them in the market, Philosopher's Stones, random events. These are just not things I would ever spend on, right? It doesn't make sense to spend on them. And that's where the tier list comes in. What do we actually want to spend on to become strong? That's the whole point of this. Strength spending, okay? S tier is things you have to buy if you want to be at the top of the game. A tier is very important things to get to be at the top. B tier, it kind of depends on where you are in your stage of the game. If you're in the first year or if you're in your 4th year, it really changes based on your context, and you're going to have to decide that one for yourself. Then anything in the C and D tier is honestly just not very good. Probably wouldn't touch it. I want to start strong here with the S tier. Wisdom Well, also known as Triss to many players, is the best event in the game. You have to do Triss if you want to be strong. If you need the legendary skills, these things run the game. Every single Mega Whale is using them. You can't find a top tier March that isn't using at least one red skill. These things are too powerful. You need them to win. The next is Chaos. If you look at that leaderboard, everyone's using at least one Chaos. Now, I'm currently not using a Chaos in my main March, just so you can see, but I am using a red skill. However, this March is extremely strong and uses 3, right? And if they were high enough specialization, I would have them here. Now, keep in mind, just because you get a Chaos does not mean it is powerful. The specialization is way more powerful, and that's why the Trist event, the Wisdom Well, is higher than I. Now, we have that new event, Elemental Bond. In its current state, it's not very good. The heroes you get here aren't going to be a needle mover. They're not going to make you much stronger. However, if you have immortals in your main March that are on the Elemental Bond and you need Spec 8, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad, but it kind of depends. Again, most people probably shouldn't. However, in some niche cases, people who really need, like Cyrus. Cyrus is kind of hard to get. That would be a niche pick. Gem supply. Gems do not make you directly powerful. However, gems give you the power to be powerful. And this is the best way to get them. I think it's one of the best ways. But if it's something you wanted to cut and only do S tier, you'll see all the S tiers at the end. Daily deals. Overrated. They've been extremely powerful for many reasons, but once you've gotten everything, all your artifacts are gold, you've picked up all your heroes, you have tons of AP, and you've saved up, it's not that good. It doesn't make you more powerful. However, if you're in the middle tiers of the game, very powerful. Getting SP pots and getting the pearls gives you flexibility to grow, and growing is good. Recharge skills and KVK skills, really important. This is important because you need skills that are meta. You need no escape. You need things like Spring of Life, Energy Shield, Master's Aegis, right? These things are meta, right? I move them in and out of my teams. My teams are a little wonky right now, but they're so important. If you don't have those skills, you're not going to have a complete team, and your red skills aren't going to matter. Moving on, we have Trios Roulette. If you've watched my tier list videos before, I think this is the worst event in the game. You might as well just do Galaxy. It's better. But it again depends. If you are not maxed out on your Holy or Shadow Immortals, like Tutankhamun if he's your carry, or if Himiko's your carry, this actually becomes S tier. Now again, this matters if you are using these Immortals already or not. So for me, if I don't have a Shadow or Holy carry, for me, this is gonna be probably somewhere in the A tier. And for you, it might depend. However, for those who are using Himiko, Bjorn, you need these things maxed out. They're very, very strong. But they're not as strong as these, of course. And again, it depends on your spending level. This is a relatively easy event to participate in, and I think most people should be doing it. Now, Stellar, if you need artifacts, artifacts are great. They run the game to a certain point, but once you have a good artifact, it's not that important. So this depends. If you have a bad artifact on your carry, you need to get it into a place where you can actually play the game, right? The Stellar gives these artifact fragments, and they're only limited to the regular elements. So if these are one of your carries, like let's say you're Wind and playing Baldwin, or you're Lightning and playing Khan, or Earth playing Alex, if you don't have a perfect artifact, then these become higher priority for you. If you already have a good artifact, it's not that important, right? So it's going to depend. Lucky Spin. This is very similar to Elemental Bond in my opinion, except it's a gem event. Elemental Bond is actually better when it comes to getting Immortals for cheap. However, the selection process for Lucky Spin is much better. So if Elemental Bond changes in the future, then it's going to be way better than Lucky Spin. Sun Crystals. Not that important, especially once you have 4 gold. Pinball is the last S tier. You need stats. Stats run the game. If your carries are not 40-50, like a mage, let's say a mage, right? I've used Baldwin a lot, and I got him to 50 because you get the 15% crit rate. My Woo is 40, and I can't get that 5% crit rate unless I go for Pinball, because it's going to take too long, right? These are very important to having max teams. Dragon Knight, this one again is going to depend. If you're already building Holy Shadow, you're going to probably want it, but this is again one of those like only the top players really can get the max dragon. If you're nowhere near it, you're going to need to do some math and say, is this worth it? For me, I did the math, not worth it. For some people, it might be. Please don't buy resource bundles. Find a way, use alts, farm dead castles. Resources are free in the game. You should not be buying them. So, take a deep look at these. These are the things you really should be focusing on. They're the only things that actually matter. This new event, decent. It needs some work. It's almost there. But if the Immortals something you need, they're actually pretty efficient. So, I hope you guys like these kind of videos, making sure that you're staying on the right track, being as strong as you possibly can. And if you do, make sure to leave a like and a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.